Hello everyone. So today we will be discussing about a very recent event which has taken place in Maharashtra in the form of two long marches by the people of Maharashtra, tribal communities of Maharashtra in Palghar and Nashik district. Why they resorted to this long march? What are their core demands? What issues they have raised? And what has been the government's response in regards to these demands? Let's delve into this topic to understand the core issues related to the tribals protesting in Maharashtra. So first of all, let's observe about these events. These were very large-scale protests by tribal farmers from Palghar and Nashik districts, which was organized by All India Kisan Sabha and Communist Party of India Marxist. It was during 19th to 22nd January in Palghar and 25th to 29th January in Nashik. Why these two districts? Because these districts have a predominantly large tribal population. So that is why the people, they have been affected because of certain issues, and that is why they have resorted to this long march. Now, what are the core issues? What are the core demands to raise which they have resorted to this long march? So these are basically related to implementation of forest right, that is land rights, employment, irrigation, and education. So these are four areas to which their demands, their issues are related to. Let's discuss the first one, that is improper implementation of Forest Right Act 2006. This has been a demand related to the proper implementation of Forest Right Act and addressing their claims related to the land titles since 2018, and they are continuously facing these issues. There have been very high rejection rate of individual forest right claims. For example, an individual who has been tilling land in the forest area, they want the land title to be given under their name, but these claims have been rejected in very high rate. Only a fraction of whatever the land they are cultivating, only a fraction of that has been allotted in case the government approves the claim. But because of this, they are facing numerous repercussions. For example, because of this, they are rendered ineligible for government schemes and institutional credit, because bank will give institutional credit only when there is land title or the title of the land is in the name of so and so person. So because of this, they are facing a continuous cycle of poverty. Another issue is defective land ownership record. Now the land ownership in forests are in the name of village, not all individuals. The complete village will have ownership record that this forest or this particular parcel of land belongs to this village. Now there is no name of individual. Individual names are only available in the village record, and this does not make them a legal owner. So this is a defective land ownership record. And because of this, when we are trying to digitize the land record, there have been created inconsistencies and mismatches, which has further led to the wrongful rejection of claims, because there are mismatches where individual is trying to put forward a claim related to land right, and this is being rejected. So they demand that this should be addressed properly. There should be rectification done in such a system. This defective land ownership record should be rectified. So they are demanding this so that they can meaningfully engage in agriculture and other practices as well. Further related issue is about irrigation stress and agricultural constraint. These areas are in the rain shadow zone of Maharashtra. So they'll receive very less rainfall, and that is only seasonal rainfall. And because of this, they are only able to cultivate a single seasonal paddy crop throughout the year, only single paddy crop. So of course, this will create huge stress on their lives, and there are no irrigation facilities available. So they are demanding that there should be some small dams created on the west flowing rivers, the rivers which are draining into Arabian Sea. So there should be some check dams created, and by that they will be able to divert the water into the east so that they can use in irrigation of their fields. Further, they demand that MSP should be provided for non-paddy crops as well. They grow soybean, ragi, jowar, bajra, onion, mangoes. So they want that for these crops also there should be MSP provided so as to ensure that their livelihood is protected. Now they have further raised demand related to the completion of pending recruitments under Panchayat Extension to Scheduled Areas PISA Act 1996, which will provide employment opportunities to the educated tribal youth. This act, PISA, it empowers tribal communities in scheduled areas. That is why the act was brought to ensure self-governance in these areas. So they demand that this self-governance mechanism in these areas has not been properly implemented. They want to strengthen their Gram Sabha, the local bodies in those areas, so that they would have a greater say in the matters affecting their lives. And of course, they will be trying to address whatever the issues are related to education, health, education, irrigation, employment, so that they can address those issues. But because of the weak implementation of Peace Act in these areas, they are unable to have a say, and subsequently, there has been no big change in their life. So because of this limited employment opportunities, the tribal youth, they are under severe stress. Agriculture is not paying off. Government employment opportunities are also not there. So they are continuously under the stress of vagaries of nature, vagaries of unemployment, poverty, and all. Further, because of this, there are social infrastructure gaps as well. There have been vacant positions of teachers and staff in Jila Parishad schools. These have been not filled by the government for quite long. Further, because of inadequate educational opportunities for tribal children, their children are not getting good education. So this will also have a repercussion for them in future. And also lack of 24-hour electricity supply, which is affecting their livelihood and education. So they are not able to engage in some other form of livelihood, employment, etc. because of non-availability of these basic necessities. So they are basically demanding the basic necessities of life: employment, education, irrigation, and land rights. So what has been the government's response? In Lok Sabha in 2025, some data was furnished, according to which 4,09,000 claims were filed by the people, tribal people, and 3,80,000 claims were disposed. In these, 2,08,000 titles were granted, and 1,72,631 claims were rejected. Now, this is very huge. 45% of the FRA claims are rejected in Maharashtra. So because of this, they are facing severe stress. Now, whether it is related to inconsistencies and mismatches in digitization of land records, or improper implementation of FRA, or improper implementation of PISA, everything. But this is affecting their life directly. And government is acknowledging this. The government of Maharashtra as well as the central government is acknowledging this. And because of the interpretational differences in FRA, because FRA provides land right in the name of village, and it has provisions that individuals should be given the land title, but there are conservationist versus forest right ideology, which is making this interpretational differences. Then state government is also accepting that yes, they are trying to gradually implement the things on the ground, and they are trying to address the inconsistencies and mismatches which are there in the digitization of land records. They are trying to rectify it. The government has acknowledged this, and the chief minister himself has expressed the willingness to resolve these issues. They have held talks with tribal delegations as well. This with the 15-member delegations of All India Kisan Sabha and CPIM. So they want to resolve this matter also. So what experts are suggesting, and what should be the way forward in this situation? Mr. Madhav Gadgil, who was an ecologist who has recently passed away, had highlighted this issue, that there has been a misinterpretation of FRA provisions. Because of this misinterpretation, all the issues are created. This has boiled down to an ideological conflict between conservation-centric approach, those who are ardent follower of conservation, that is, forest should not be disturbed, or the pristine nature of forest should not be disturbed. And there is another side which are in the favor of right-based forest governance. They want that the people, those who have been traditionally dwelling into the forest, they have their land rights. So these should be recognized. Now, they also want that there should be a balance between these two ideologies. Why you want to have a conservation-centric approach, which is not taking care of these tribals, those who have a very symbiotic relation with the environment, in the forest in which they are living, and the land they have been cultivating for so long. So this lack of interpretation, or this misinterpretation, has created all these issues. This has come down to conservation versus forest right, which should not have been the case ideally. This can be resolved in a very balanced manner. So what should be the way forward? FRA guidelines should be clarified so that there is no any room for misinterpretation by the officials, because officials, they are frightened, they are not ready to do this thing which should be in the right based forest governance. Otherwise they will be held liable for uh, damaging the environment. So they are afraid of taking such decisions. So there should be clarity in the guidelines itself related to ensuring individual land titles. Strengthening Gram Sabhas under PISA. This is the foremost requirement of PISA Act 1996. That Gram Sabha has a upper say in relation to approving anything which is affecting the areas, in scheduled areas. So Gram Sabha should be strengthened. They should have a say, and that is how the grassroots democracy is going to be strengthened. Balancing conservation goals with the tribal livelihoods. Now these people, they have been for so long, for centuries, they have been dwelling in the forest. So they have no other means to survive, no other means to have a meaningful livelihood or earning. So we need to balance this, that yes, how conservation can also be achieved, as well as their individual rights can also be ensured, because the objective of Forest Right Act is to uphold individual land titles, individual land rights, and their livelihoods. Further, there is a need to improve the accuracy of land record digitization. Now, at this point of time, we cannot afford to have such inconsistencies and mismatches when we are trying to be more and more towards digitization. So this should be properly taken care of. There should be a time bound and a project based approach to rectify this issue, because this is affecting the lives of tribal people to a very great extent. Expand irrigation and MSP coverage for tribal agriculture. Now they are demanding that, since they are unable to have more than one paddy crop, but they are having ragi, bajra, jawar, which have been termed as climate smart crops, and these millets, they are they have potential to play a very great role in when it comes to nutrition for the people of India, particularly in these hinterlands and all. So why not provide MSP for these crops and expand irrigation? They should also be receiving the fruits of development. And in these areas which are in the rain shadow zone, irrigation has a very great importance. So their demands should be addressed. Their demands are not unfound, or not not such that they have demanded a very great thing, but some basic things only related to improvement in their lives. So this should be addressed at the earliest. This is how we can achieve a balance between conservation of the forest as well as ensuring individual forest rights, as has been envisaged by our polity setup and the constitution as well. So with that, this topic is over, and this is very important, particularly for Main's point of view, the tribal rights. There has been a continuous tussle between Forest Right Act and Indian Forest Act. So conservationist approach of forest and the individual rights of forest. So this can be very handy for you to write in your main answer, so as to have a enriched content. With that, this will be all. All the best.